feel like because educated women in general are not gonna take your crap for anything, because they can make a living. They don't need you. They don't need this treatment. If, for example, they are being treated badly, they don't need this. They can go on, have a life, and do good for themselves. So and this goes back to the idea of what is unconditional love. If their husband's being like an asshole, I would not put up with that, and that is not unconditional love. That's just taking a hit and just...
Yeah, you know what time it is. I'm back, baby. And this time, we're going to try a little something different. We're going to deviate from the usual. So the other day, I'm the type of person that loves to debate. And the other day, I was chilling with a very, very close friend of mine, and I decided to pose the question to see if she thought unconditional love really existed. I know there's people out there in relationships, people that are single and probably looking for relationships, people that aren't looking for relationships, people that are married, and I really wanted to know what she thought on this subject. So after going back and forth a little bit, and of course I won the debate because I always win the debate. I'll just play. I decided, you know what, let me take this question to the street. Let me find out what the people on the street think about unconditional love. Can it exist altruistically? So come take a tour with me as we head to the streets to find out from the people, does unconditional love really exist? Let's go. So, ladies, do you believe in unconditional love? And if so, can you describe it?
I think I do. And the way I define unconditional love would have to be one that doesn't have labels or have any expectations, and to have trust be a constant element within that whole process of just developing it and maintaining it, I think. And yeah, I think that's like, it totally exists amongst other people, but it's a lot of effort to be able to maintain it, and it always comes down to the people involved, because it can never be one way, and that's how I view it. But I do think it exists, yeah.
I just think that once you get into that unconditional love mindset, it's a decision that you make that, okay, basically whatever is going through, whatever it is, I will stay there and stick there, and we will push through it. So it's more so a decision you take once you trust that person, that like whatever you have to go through is going to be worth it.
Who do you think is more likely to show unconditional love to their partner? A man to a woman, or woman to a man, or is it about equal?
Okay, this is an interesting question. I think it's women who usually demonstrate unconditional love to men, because like women are more dedicated to relationships, so I will definitely say that it's women.
Men are capable, but women tend to do it more.
Yeah, and I think it comes from an expectation society has of women to be more nurturing and caring and kind of put up with, not just with your partners, but even like in like my culture, for example, like women and like girls are expected to put up with what, you know, whatever happens around them, right? And that obviously transfers onto like adult relationships as well. That it probably is the case that women love unconditionally more, but we definitely shouldn't be. It's a scam. Don't do it.
I would say women, only because society and how the infrastructures have been placed upon us, like just generations back. Females are more open and kind of on, I guess, a more gentle basis when it comes to that topic of unconditional love. And men are supposed to be more tough and more resistant to that because they don't want to seem soft. And I think because of that whole stereotype and evolution towards that idea, it's going to be female. But I don't want to also put females in that box either.
A woman.
Okay, why do you say that?
Just because the way that we're brought up, basically how society conditions us, is more so that like, you know, men do this, oh, men do that, and we're just kind of something that's like you're supposed to accept, you know? That's, yeah.
So are you saying...
So we're brought up in the mindset that like shit will hit the fence.
So that women are more accepting?
Yeah.
So there was a recent study, and it determined that in a marriage, women initiate close to 70% of the divorces, and then college-educated women initiate 90% of the divorces. You're college-educated too, right?
I am.
So if you are saying that women tolerate more, shouldn't the number be flipped? Like, shouldn't men be the ones who initiate more divorces?
That's interesting. Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, according to your study, it should be like this, but like this is strange because from my experience, like I'm sharing my experience, from my experience, I feel like the women are more devoted no matter what. Maybe after marriage, the man like bring them to condition where they stop loving unconditionally and they that just leave after certain time. But again, I definitely think that like women are are able and capable for unconditional love more than men. Not saying that men cannot do this, but for me it's women.
All right. So are you basically saying it's more than likely the man's fault that?
In most cases, right? Yeah.
Okay.
I hope men are not going to hate me.
No. I mean, it's good to get an honest opinion.
It's just my opinion.
Right,
like
right,
I'm
right.
not saying that it's like this, but I like according to my observations and my own experience, I feel like women are more devoted.
Right. Okay. So So with that being said, then that wouldn't be unconditional love then, because unconditional love means you love someone altruistically. I think that's the word.
Yeah.
So you're not expecting anything from that person. So no matter how bad or how good they treat you, you're gonna still be with them. So the reason why I brought up that study with the divorces and stuff is because this kind of shows that no one's perfect in a relationship.
Right. True.
So if it seems like men would be more inclined to take the BS from women as opposed to the opposite, because if no one's perfect and both are do things that the other person doesn't like, a man will be more willing to put up with it.
Yeah, fix it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's an interesting study. I don't know like what to say.
I feel like because educated women in general are not gonna take your crap for anything, because they can make a living. They don't need you. They don't need this treatment. If, for example, they are being treated badly, they don't need this. They can go on, have a life, and do good for themselves. So and this goes back to the idea of what is unconditional love. If their husband's being like an asshole, I would not put up with that, and that is not unconditional love. That's just taking a hit and just.
I do want to add, I believe that there's sampling bias in that study because it's definitely limited to North American couples, and like the rest of the world exists out there. And like if you go to Asia, for example, that's not the case. Like they're like people are not even getting divorces because it's a taboo. So I think to say that like in North America, maybe it's the case that women actually instigate divorces, but then if you go out to the rest of the world, where like the patriarchy is a lot stronger, you would see that they actually put up with more.
Yeah.
Because they don't have the opportunity to leave, they don't have a choice, they financially cannot, and yeah.
Okay. So with what you guys are saying, unconditional love has a condition then.
Of course.
So then it's not unconditional love.
I think it goes both ways, because in showcasing that unconditional love, it also can be represented in allowing them to let that person go because they love them and they have love for that person. So from like that perspective, I think that's okay, because just because you're in love with that person doesn't mean you have to be together, or like that's why you have to stay in a marriage that creates unhappiness for both of you, because sometimes you love each other but it just doesn't work because of external circumstances.
Right. So then unconditional love means between two people, partners, would also mean that you're not partners.
Yeah, I think so too. It could exist in that way, but it would just be a different type and in a different dimension of it, I guess.
Women can love you and you will think that they are never ever going to leave you, but at one point they can get so tired and they can get so upset and they can just leave you, and you will think that, oh my gosh, how I could believe that this woman ever loved me. Yeah, this is the case with women. It's our nature, I believe.
Without you even knowing it, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so this is gonna be my last question, and I'm glad you said that, because this makes me wonder, you know, marriage is considered the highest level of love, because one of the vows in marriage is till death do us part. So a person going into marriage would think, okay, we're not going to leave each other unless death occurs, right? So with that being said, and what you just said, does that mean women actually marry with ulterior motives?
An ulterior motive, like she's not getting married for the right thing, or she doesn't know what she was entering into? What does that mean?
Whatever you believe. It could be maybe she knows that if the marriage ends, she's entitled to finances, or maybe she's doing it because she wants a glamorized party, right? Maybe she's doing it because she doesn't want to be judged by her friends. Maybe she's the only single person. So there could be anything. I'm just asking you if that's a possibility, as opposed to, like, for example, if you sign a contract and you break the contract, doesn't that mean you're not abiding by the contract?
I mean, if we're going black and white here,
Right.
then yeah, she's breaking the contract.
Right. So if we're going gray, what would be the opposing situation?
Like, what's the cost of staying in this contract? Like, just break it. You know?
Right. So when the reverend told her, or when the pastor said till death do us part, that didn't play a difference there. That didn't really matter, because if she even has to ask, well, what is the benefit of staying in this marriage, then the vow of till death do us part doesn't play a role.
Well, I don't know what to say. Very hard question. So, like, I don't have an answer at this point. Sorry.
It's cool.
Also, you could say that, you know, for example, in contract law, you have, like, the two parties signing a contract, they need to both be aware of what they're signing into.
Right.
So if what she said she was going to receive was not what she got, then the contract's null to begin with.
Okay, so again, doesn't that go back to ulterior motives then? Because shouldn't she know? Are you saying she doesn't know what she's doing when she gets married?
No, I would say maybe she was promised one thing and got another thing.
So it's a man's fault?
No, it's the marriage's fault.
Well, who promised her that one thing that she didn't get?
I guess her partner.
Right. So if she was promised something, she didn't get it, and then she made a decision based on what she was promised and didn't get, would that mean that it would be the guy's fault? Because she's making a decision based on what the guy didn't do.
Would that be the guy's fault? I don't know. Maybe. Sometimes.
Okay.
I can't say yes. I can't say no.
Even if you don't know, if unconditional love is altruistic, meaning you're not expecting anything from your partner, it shouldn't matter whether he promised her one thing or not, because she should still stay in the marriage.
Oh, I disagree.
Why is that?
Because if you're giving unconditional love and not receiving it back, then you're not respecting yourself.
So the unconditional love has
your first love should be yourself.
Right.
You know?
So the unconditional love has a condition that you receive unconditional love.
No, you love unconditionally as long as it aligns with, you loving yourself.
That's a condition. It has to align with you loving yourself.
Okay. So unconditional love is not unconditional. Okay.
There you have it. She said it. I did it. And, those are the thoughts about unconditional love. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? I know there's probably people out there that are going to be really triggered, saying, you know what, that's not right. You didn't ask the right questions, or you didn't let people explain. But look, man, this is all for fun, nothing serious, but I would definitely love to hear what you guys have to say on this topic. In your opinion, do you think unconditional love really exists? And can it exist altruistically? Leave your comments in the comment box. I would love to read them. Anyways, in the meantime, in between time, you know what time it is. It's the Milkman, and I'm off this easy, fam.